Hi everyone, my name is Joe Stone. I was injured about a year and a half ago in a speed flying accident, which now my diagnosis is an incomplete C7 quadriplegic. I do have quite a bit of function. I have really good function in my right hand, and I'm able to open my left hand, I just can't close for grip. And then I have full arm function, full triceps, biceps, shoulders, all of that. So the first stretch that I do every morning is for the hamstrings. I have a problem with my legs where if I'm trying to lean forward to stretch my hamstrings, my knees come up. So I need to find a way. I either have to hold them down to make sure I get a good stretch, or what I've come up with is just simply bending the one leg and placing it right behind my knee, and that keeps this leg down nice and flat and allows me to worry more about my posture and keeping my back straight while I'm stretching to make sure I get a good stretch. So yeah, I do that, and it's leaning forward. I'll use grabbing onto my leg and things like that to kind of keep my back straight and pull me forward to make sure I'm getting a good stretch in there. So once I'm done stretching my right leg, I just keep my leg in place, and the way that I stretch my left calf to keep some of those spasms out of there is I'll just place my other hand, my left hand, on the back of my knee to keep it from pushing back, and then grab my other foot and then just pull in. And this really helps keep the coolness away and that kind of thing during transfers or just being in your chair and everything else. And then in between pushing my foot up to stretch the calf, I like to get some good range of motion going in my ankle. It's kind of a combination of two things to keep the spasms away. Not only stretching, but moving my legs around and getting good range of motion. When you're sitting in the chair and you're not moving around at all, transferring, swimming, exercising, any of that, and you're in the chair all day, your spasms will be bad just when you go to move, because your muscles have been sitting in one position for so long. So in the mornings I try to get everything moving, and that really helps keep the spasms away. From here, I like to basically just lay on my back and pull my knee up to my chest, just stretch that way. Get a little bit more of the hamstring. And you can see like this leg flexing as I just move it a little bit. This is something else I'll let off of the stretch and kind of move the leg around, loosen those muscles up, and then go back into the stretch. So from there, let's bring in both my legs up, put my feet together. I try to draw them in as close to my groin as I can. And then what I'm doing here is get my feet lined up, get a hand underneath them or both of them, and then I'm putting my elbows kind of over my calves, so they're bone there on my legs. And while I'm pulling up on my toes, on my feet, I'm also pushing down with my elbows. This is going to help really stretch your growing and everything, and just kind of really helps loosen things up. And it's also, all of this is range of motion as well, getting the legs in different positions, making sure to get those joints moving around. With all these stretches, I like to go down, hold it for a little while, and release, try to readjust. Things will loosen up, and so you'll be able to maybe tuck your legs in a little bit closer than they were in the first stretch and things like that, to make sure to maximize how much you're stretching. And then the next thing is just pushing out to really stretch those hips, hip flexors and everything. When you're sitting in the chair, if you don't stretch those muscles can shrink up because it's just used to you being in a sitting position. If you lay on your back at night, that helps stretch these out, but if you're somebody who lays on their side with their legs curled up a little bit as well, you really need to worry about stretching these muscles so that you can stretch your body out straight. So I'll do this, and when I do this, I focus on my arms and shoulders and what I do have in my trunk, just really trying to force my hips down into the bed to get a good arch in my back. So what I like to do is I'll pop up onto my knees, and then you'll see kind of how I do the range. So get up, and this is great if you don't do this and you're new to it. It's going to be really hard in the beginning to hold this position comfortably, but it's a great workout on your shoulders. Just make sure to keep your shoulder blades, your scapulas nice, and don't hang on them like this. Keep everything strong, and make sure that you're supporting yourself with your muscles, not just hanging on your joints. So once I get into this position, and this is another great workout on top of range of motion, I'll just sit and swing my hips around. And I try to go both ways with the circles, counterclockwise and clockwise, because it's all a little bit different, and moving things around. Try to get the sides on each side, and then also going forward and back. From here, and then once again, if this is something that you haven't done yet, go really slow. My knees tend to crack, and that's something that they did before the accident, so I'm not worried about the noises they make, because I used to do it when I would bend down to the floor or whatever, when I could walk and everything. But I like to go nice and slow, so I'll do that by just creating a little bit more friction on the bed, and then just slowly letting things slide down until I'm kind of sitting on my calves and back of my heels. What I do is I get up on my elbows a little bit, and I like to just rock my hips from left to right. This is just another form of range of motion that I do. And I'll do this for a while. Like I said, I'm doing this stuff faster today for the video. Normally I spend 20 to 30 minutes getting a good solid stretch in. So I'll sit for a few minutes on each stretch and really let it get to good range when I'm rocking back and forth, and get a good solid stretch. But this still, if I'm in a hurry and I gotta stretch fast, it still really decreases the amount of spasms I have throughout the day. So any stretching is gonna help for sure. It took me a little while to figure this one out and to get flexible enough again to be able to do it. But what I'll do is, what I'm trying to do is spread my heels out further than before they were right next to each other. I want them to be a little bit further apart, about the same width as my hips, and that way I can almost kind of sit in between them. And so one way that I do that is by bringing my arm underneath when I go to roll on, and that'll keep this leg in good position. And I'm also able to, with this hand while it's underneath, push my other leg to keep it wide enough while I'm placing my hips down. So just making sure to go nice and slow with everything. If you go too fast, you could end up straining or hurting something. So, and I've been doing this for a little while now, so I know my limitations. You might want to go a little bit slower if you're starting out. So from here, I get into this position. This actually helps out a ton with not only sitting up straight, I try to work on my trunk control. The heels and everything kind of help keep my hips forward. So from here, if I have a little bit more time in the day, I'll try to just sit up straight, reach the hands around, that sort of thing, reaching out while I'm sitting. Just trying to work on the trunk that I do have, doing that kind of stuff, but the main reason why I'm here is to stretch these quads. So what I do once I'm in this position, so I get my hands behind me, and I'll just slowly lay back. When I first started this, I really could only get into this position. I didn't do much of leaning back. Now I can just about, completely lay down. I don't like to completely lay down because it's one of those positions that once you're in it, it's hard to get out of. So I make sure to keep my elbows down, and this seems to be enough of a stretch to get what I'm looking for out of it. And now things are getting looser. Sometimes I like to just do one more hamstring stretch with both my legs out. So I use one of my arms to hold down my knees, because like I said, they will come up when I lean forward. And I'll use my other hand that I do have grip in, get it underneath my ankle, and that's what I use to kind of pull not only forward, but down. Pull forward so that it keeps my back straight, a good posture for stretching. And then obviously pulling down so I can stretch those muscles. So from here I'm just trying to lean forward. Now I am putting weight down on my knees, but I'm also kind of, the way my arms are at the bottom of my kneecaps, I can kind of use that to pull myself forward. I'll do that a little bit, and then usually I can spread the legs a little bit further after I stretch them a little bit. Try to get a better stretch. What I do here is I'll use, for my right leg, I'll use my left arm to hold the knee down. And then I'll use my right arm and put it behind me, and I'll use that to push me forward. It's forward and, going down as well. That'll keep my legs straight, and without having this arm behind me, I can't really, get a good stretch that way. But the combination of this arm and this arm behind me really helps get a solid stretch in. But you can see at this point, as I transfer over, how loose my legs are. They don't fight me at all. They're nice and loose. So this makes transferring easier, makes handling the legs a lot easier. They're not fighting against me. So that is my routine every morning. I would highly recommend people trying this. Obviously with the spinal cord injury, one thing that works for me may not work for you, but I think it's worth trying because it's really helped my overall health and get off of medications. And feel free to check out my blog. It's joesstone.blogspot.com. It's a lot of information about what I've been up to since my accident, the ride I did out in Montana, documentary I'm filming for, and things like this will be on there as well, how I go about my everyday routines. So thanks for watching, and until next time, have a great day.